Football fans, Gooners, welcome to an edited version of our last podcast, the Arsenal Fulham match review. Uh, at the time, I had as my guest Seebs from the Arsenal Independent Supporters Association, as well as the usual suspects, Blackburn George and Ehab, the ex scout. Thought I would share with you and focus on the section of the podcast that dealt with the player ratings. I thought it was most informative, and I hope you will be able to join with us in the debate and perhaps leave some comments after this podcast is published. Well, give it a listen and let me know what you think. Let's let's have a little look at the Shotta's unscientific. Okay, the only thing that's wrong here is Bolton Arsenal. I didn't change the heading, copy and paste. Imagine this Arsenal Fulham. I highlighted Saliba and Odegaard. And I know that Seebs is saying that I overrated them, overrated suggesting I overrated Saliba, but I thought that when we went to three at the back, he was commanding. I thought that if it was Gabriel playing three at the back, we would have been in a lot of trouble. And I thought that that's and in general where he stepped up. There's a way um that's what we imagined Ben White would be stepping up and beating players and laying off decent passes, and that is why I gave him my 8.5 seeds. Um, Odegaard, I thought he covered himself in glory. Many of you know that I was not very enthusiastic, but he has come a long way, and I gave Eddie a 7.5 because he did exactly what Steve said. But I'm going to give you first dibs at this. I'm going to shut up. I'm going to give all you guys a chance to have a say about the players. Starting with you here, Ehab.
I mostly agree with it. It was a good game. Everybody actually played well. They didn't play badly. But the thing is, as I said, the we got a couple of unlucky bounces. We are running into the middle when the middle was covered, so it looked like they are playing too hard to not do the same good things that they always do. Like the result wasn't gonna be the same because like this is my favorite Alex Ferguson saying. It's that in football everything complicated by the presence of the other team, because we could play the best we can, but there's another team is gonna counter that, and they just this is what they did, and we ran into them. Ramsdale, I believe, for me was the man of the match. We would have easily lost the game without him.
You think?
Yeah, yeah. It's I'm sorry. It's the because he came up with three huge saves when we needed him, and they're huge saves. They're not easy. And I mean, on the other side, Leno was having the game of his life, but it's somehow kind of outstaged him. Um, I think Odegaard is good. Odegaard played well. Saka didn't play badly. And then he was good. Chaka was his usual self, of course, in his new role. It's been, they played well. I don't hate what any, I couldn't pick a player to say he played badly. Even Gabriel with the boneheaded mistake. You,
Yes.
you could you could have. I mean, even if you don't have anybody to play it to, you just kick it out of bounds. You see it every game. A defender gets pressured, then he kicks it out of bounds. And I think Eddie was huge. I think Eddie could have had a couple of goals yesterday had he been lucky enough for if Leno had a very good save against him, and there was this lob that Odegaard played to him, and Eddie has still have got to learn this, just to turn his body when the
Right.
ball is coming to him in the air. He does it when it's coming on ground, and he has impeccable footwork, so he can manage on the ground. But when it's coming in the air, um, Van Persie used to be the same when he was
Yes.
22. He had the same problems when he was 22, but he worked on it somehow, and by the time he's 27, 28, he was the best striker in the world, basically. So, you don't know. I mean, we have to continue to develop him. I agree with most of it. To be honest, I think Ramsdale deserves better than 7.5. We gave him a couple of really good saves to make, and he made it at the right time. This is what De Gea used to do for United when they used to play under Louis van Gaal, and they used to be bad all game, and he would come with a couple of huge saves, then they would score a goal and they would win the game, and they think they won it or the manager won it. They didn't. De Gea won it for them. They could have had Messi and Ronaldo on this 2015, 2016, 17 teams. They could have had Messi, Ronaldo, Pelé, and Maradona, and if they traded De Gea, they would have finished 12th. It's yeah. So I like when the goalkeeper does something like that. He gives you a chance to go out and win it, and he did that. And he should get for me. He was the important part yesterday. Eddie too came and he had the energy when everybody was tired, and he could score. He has something above the rest of them that he could score. He could, there's an argument to be made that he's the best scorer in the team. He's the England under 21 leader all time scoring leader. I think he had more goals in the under 21 tournament than anyone ever, including Wayne Rooney and Alan Shearer and anybody. And he's that's why this is an aspect of the game that you have to cover, that you have to account for, that you do not account for with others. Like George said, Martinelli is a great attacker, but his finishing is still to catch up with the. He's still some inaccuracies in it, and you have to watch out for that. Eddie, if you give him a chance, he's gonna score. So they had to defend against that too.
Seebs, I'm feeling guilty about I'm feeling very guilty about Eddie. I know Eddie is one of Ehab's favorite players, and every week he makes Ehab look like a real like a practicing scout. He's inactive now, but you know what I mean,
Yeah,
Ehab. You're you have sized them up and said there's a lot of room for improvement. There's room for growth. What they're now saying again, he's upper level or whatever that phrase that everybody likes to use. But Seems, I got the heading corrected, by the way. What do you think?
yeah. I mean, 100% agree with Eddie. He's one of my favourite players. Um, like horrible to say, but I think he possibly should have left. But we'll see that in the future. Um, whether he's done the right thing, because at the start of this season, Arteta's still not playing him as much as he should be. Uh, he put him on early, the earliest he's ever put him on, I think, yesterday, and that was a reaction to going
To
1-0 down.
hmm
Um, so at least he's doing that. At least he'll get minutes. If we go 1-0 down, if we go 3-0 up, I'm not sure how many minutes he'll get, probably just 8 or 9. Um, yeah, I've followed Eddie. I've seen him since he was very young, uh, and
hmm
he scores goals at every England youth level. Uh, yeah, he's brilliant. He's an onion bag striker, as they used to say. And he definitely changed the game yesterday. So I totally agree. I love Eddie and would mark him highly. Um, yeah, you need your keepers. The difference between, like, Leno was a good shot stopper. We always knew that,
Right.
but but Ramsdale's just that stage ahead. He can make an absolute difference. He'll have your standard good goalkeeper game, but he will make those absolutely. If you've not faced a shot all game, and then the other team get a shot in, he will still make that save, and that proved in the last couple of minutes again.
Yes,
He
yes,
did it. The back line was absolutely caught out. We just stood there like statues, um, and which is criminal at the last 5 minutes in the game. And yeah, to make that save, they're saying it's not a hard save to make, but he was at full stretch and he got
yes.
there and he made the save. Yes, he should have had a higher mark. The other thing, I was surprised you marked Ben White down. This is what I was saying about um, players who are popular and who are not. Saliba is very popular at the moment, and you've marked him highly. Ben White, I would have said would have had a better game than Gabriel, and he got a
He
lower
would.
mark than Gabriel. Um, so that's a difficult one. That 7.25. I didn't think he was the worst player in the team, and when we went to a back three, I think he'd done his job. I think he'd done it. He's not a right back, so he's not going to fly up and down the right wing. And the rest of the season, we've been concentrating on the left side anyway. So he's been more of a stabilising player. Um, so yeah, I mean, all those three centre backs. Um, if you wanted to mark Gabriel down for the mistake, maybe, but otherwise, if you give him a flat 8 across the board, that would have been fair. Um, I
Yeah.
didn't think Tierney did a lot wrong. Like, Ehab's right. Everybody played well. To be honest, everybody played well. Um, so yeah, difficult. But the difficulty is we always make these marks at full time after the result. Had we not got back, had it been 1-1 or lost 1-0, the most of the game the players would have played exactly the same. What would we have marked them then? And I think sometimes you have to have a look at that. So I don't mark popular players and always give them good marks, because I think Saliba's got an 8.5 every game so far, and I don't think he's played an 8.5 game every game. He's a great player. He's a great prospect, and I think he will become a great player. And then he'll go to Paris Saint Germain, probably. Uh, George is right. I'm miserable. I am miserable. No, hopefully he's enjoying himself and he'll stay with us. But um, yes, I just don't like it when some players overhyped because of their popularity, and when a player's not quite so popular, because of Kieran Tierney might have played the same game 2 seasons ago, and because he was popular, he would have got an 8. And now we all know that we've got a better left back there. He's
Yes.
now not getting to the floor. So, like I say, we have to try and think about how we're going to score players before the final whistle, before the result, to take that out of the equation and take the popularity out of the equation. But overall, I think Ehab is right that the players played well. If you're talking about team management and 8 from Mikel Arteta, well, I don't think he set up. I don't think he set up initially well. I think we were going stale quite like earlier before they scored. I mean, so should he have changed it earlier? Maybe so. Maybe Ehab will give you more on that. Um, but he reacted rather than change things earlier, and yeah. So I'm not sold on the changes. We won out of grit, which was great, much better than a year ago when we would have probably lost the game. But at the end of the day, Fulham won't come won't come above 10th. Their best position Fulham can get is probably 11th. And we were at home in the sunshine with a great crowd behind us. So I would have expected us to be better as a team. And so you have to put that down to the manager sometimes.
Seebs,
Uh,
good points.
okay.
Especially points about Eddie. I think George is George has you pegged out. You think about Mikel Arteta. Would he have
Oh,
made?
hang on a minute.
Hold
Wait,
on, George. Would Mikel
before,
Arteta have made a change at 61st minute last year? That's why I thought he made a tactical decision that was very good at
That
that
was
point
because
in
they
time.
scored those. Because they scored. If they'd have scored in the 89th minute,
Yeah.
would you put Eddie on earlier, or would you put Eddie on in the 81st minute? And this is what you have to ask yourself:
Yes.
it's a reactionary change. Had it been 0-0, would he have changed the
Shit.
tactics on the pitch, the shape, a couple of times, or would you put any subs on earlier? And I mean, up till now, the facts are no, he doesn't. He doesn't put subs on till the 75th minute. So there again, that's my concern. I'll shut up now. So
Sure, George, your Solomonic wisdom, my friend. Come on, tell us what is your take on this.
right. Well, there's a few things for me to go out there. I think, first of all, what Seebs was saying is that your ratings are a load of bollocks, Shotta.
That's right. I agree.
You're a fucking, you're a full-time rater. You're rating them on the result rather than how well they played.
Yeah.
And I'd have to agree with him that I think these are an absolute load of bollocks this week. So
okay.
put them up again. And let me say, first of all, I'm a bit confused here. Ehab and Seebs are saying all the players played well, yet we weren't very good. So how does that work? If all the players played well, surely we should have played well. And we didn't. So they didn't all play well. Now, I would say that on an average game, let's say you have an average decent game, that should be a 7. So you start from there. So put your numbers up.
I'm going to put them up, George. If I can just find them. Yes. Here they go.
Okay. Aaron Ramsdale, 7. Because he didn't make any saves for me. Him or Leno that they shouldn't have made. I don't think that either of them made outstanding saves. They saved what they should save. So he had an average game. Ben White, 7. He had an average game at best. Saliba, I think he had an above average game, 8. Gabriel, well, his fuck up made it less than an average game. He should be on a 6. Kieran Tierney, ineffective, trying to play like Shevchenko, moving infield. Not his fault, but he was doing what he was told. But even so, he was ineffective. I'll give him a 6 as well. El Neni played so conservatively, did nothing wrong, but did nothing much right either, other than keep the ball. So 7 for him, average game. Granit Xhaka, yeah, as usual, above average, 8. Saka, for me, didn't have a good game at all, 6. Martin Odegaard, above average, 8. Gabriel Martinelli, below average, 6. And Jesus, average game, 7. So that's how I saw it. And just because we win, as Steve says, doesn't move everybody up a number. Do you know what I mean? If we know loss, I look at it every week. You look in the papers at these player ratings. The team that wins, they're all on 7s and 8s, and the team that loses, they're all on 4s and 5s. And there's been fuck all between the two teams. In fact, the better team might have lost, but the scores at the end of the day they're reflected in the player ratings, which is absolute fucking nonsense. How the game turns out shouldn't affect the player ratings. I 100% agree with Seebs on that point. We should be rating them as they played, and we shouldn't be afraid to say somebody had a fucking bad game. For me, Martinelli, Saka, or Tierney were below standard that you would expect from them. They didn't produce enough. And if they had, we'd have won that game comfortably, because Fulham won't come 11th at best. Fulham will come fucking 5th, 16th at best. They're not a good team. They're not. They're a fucking shocking team, really. Premier League. Fulham are a good team. They got a draw at Liverpool. Fucking United beat Liverpool. You know, they didn't make them a fucking United a top team either. Liverpool was shite on those 2 occasions. We saw Liverpool yesterday. They scored 8. They scored 9. That's the proper Liverpool, and that's, for me, that's where Fulham will come. They'll be lucky to escape relegation. So, not impressed.
George, both you and Seebs are onto something because most of this player ratings was post game, and you're right. And that's a criticism I have had of the ratings, by the way, and I think I've fallen in the trap. But the whole point is just trying to get, well, my own uh, goal is to try to get some discussion rather than us nattering on forever. Guys, talk about nattering forever. We've gone nearly 50 minutes. Final words, just right around the table. Ehab, you, starting with you. Final words.
Well, the big takeaway is the points, the points and the win. This is a teachable moment for the manager. He's gonna learn to adjust. I like that he went to a three at the back and then he inserted Eddie. He's a little bit flexible. I like that. I like that he's willing to learn. End of the day, and I'm gonna say this again. I don't expect us to make top four. Um, if he keeps trying to throw to attack and try to overwhelm teams and try to learn himself how to adjust and how to change things, I'm good with this season. I'm 100% okay with it. It means that maybe next season we're gonna be a title contender or whatever, but because uh, the manager has been the only thing holding back the team for the past 5 years, and it's just instead of pushing him forward, they're pulling them back. On paper, the team always looked good enough to be top four. It looked much better than sixth, eighth, and fifth. Our teams looked much better than that. The money that we spent more than anybody in the last 5 years. So you'd expect that we do better. We're not a big spending team. We are not the highest revenue in the world. We are not even half of what Manchester United does. So we spend way beyond our means just to make a good team. Uh, and finally, and now, if the manager is catching up, and he's gonna be at least a neutral effect on the team, I'm all for it. If he can push the team forward next season, you're gonna see what this team is capable of. It's capable of so much. When you can, we had two injured players, and we put up a good start in 11. uh, and we had Eddie. We On the bench. We had Pepe. We let him go.
We had
So we still we
Smith
still
Rowe.
have we
Smith Rowe
still
on the
we still
bench.
we still have a few good players on the bench. You know, it's a deep team. It's a good team. Uh, uh, I think we are at the point where a good manager would have you challenge for top two, and
Seems,
and, and
seems,
we waited for 5 years. Two more is not, one more is not a big deal, and I like that he's learning.
Fucking hell, yeah.
Ehab, I'm trying to move it along because I'm final words. I'm trying to
Okay,
move it.
I'm gone.
Yes. Yes, Seems, manager holding us back or whatever, or we can go forward. Final words. I don't want to
Uh,
put words in your mouth.
yeah, I mean, right. So the when the final whistle went yesterday, I was over the moon. I was absolutely over the moon, jumping around the room and all stuff like that. When I sat down and the longer it went away from the game, you started thinking about it, and that's when your feet are on the floor, you start getting reality. I still think the reality is there's only two positions we're going to finish this year, and that's fourth and fifth. One of those two. It's going to be nip and tuck, which one we get. Um, Chelsea will come stronger. United will be stronger. Tottenham will all come stronger in the second half of the season. Liverpool and City are out of our league at the moment, and next year they will be as well. We won't be challenging for the title next year. I can't see that at the moment. But definitely maybe fourth this year. Like I say, fourth or fifth, and well, obviously, hopefully, definitely fourth next year. Um, I'm still not 100% sold on Mikel. Whether he's, I suppose he's making less mistakes, but the pair of them, you don't know. So I don't know. And just going back to one thing that George was saying earlier on about picking you couldn't put 5 fixtures together or maybe 8 fixtures together and be confident that they win. I think that is just the way the fixtures have felt. If you went through all the fixtures and said, I'll play this team, I'll play this team, I'll play this team, especially when those teams are not particularly on form, you could put 8 together that you would be confident that we'd win, especially now because we are definitely more stable. So there has been an improvement. But when you think about it, we didn't play well against a team that's like George says, will probably come about 15th at home in the sunshine with the backing of the crowd. Only 2 injuries. Everything was in our favour, sort of thing. So there's, it's good. At the moment, we're good, but it's not fantastic. So yeah, we need to keep that feeling in the crowd. But yeah, I'm happy at the moment. Yeah.
George, final word.
Yeah, good. Came from behind. We won for another 3 points. That's it. I'm not getting excited. I'm definitely not getting on this super excited fucking journey that some of our fans are going on because they're setting themselves up for a fall. So keep your own counsel and let's see where we are and further on down the line when we've played some teams that can actually play football.
Okay, fans, if you have stuck around with this great team, Ehab, Seebs, and George, like me, you've gotten a lot of wisdom. My player ratings are going to be certainly informed by a lot of what went on. Guys, I remember to like and subscribe. Remember, we say things that nobody wants to hear. That's true.
Nobody wants to hear anything we fucking say.
Exactly.
And I don't blame them either. I don't want to hear half of the stuff that I'm saying. Never mind some poor bastard giving up an hour of his time to fucking go on YouTube.
Right. But
can I just say something as well, Shots? If you are watching, comment. Add a comment.
Yes.
If you don't want to like and subscribe, tell us why you don't want to like and subscribe. Any input at all will help us give a better podcast.
Nice point, George. And by the way, guys, I will be off later this week. I won't be covering the Villa game, and hopefully post Manchester United, I'm hoping to do so. But that where I'm going, I hope they have good Wi-Fi. But my laptop will be coming with me and all of that good stuff. So we'll be around. Just might not be as regular as I should be. Like and subscribe and make a comment. Bastards that stick around for a whole hour. Thank you, Ehab. Thank you, Seebs. Thank you, George. Bye.